I will be the first person to admit that I am no professional with a camera, and I would also much rather be sitting on my porch with a journal and a book than I would sitting with my iPhone in hand. So maybe I'm not the right person to record this YouTube, or maybe that's the exact reason why I'm the perfect person to record this YouTube. But when it comes to marketing on Instagram, I am constantly learning from one-on-one copywriting clients of mine, people like Jenna Kutcher, Beth Kirby of Local Milk, and Julie Solomon. They've taught me loads, and I also got a great dose of education at Social Media Marketing World earlier this year. So by the end of this video, you will know 5 things that are working right now for writing captions and copy on Instagram. Like I said, I don't spend hours a day on this app. I don't even post daily to my feed. Definitely will skip entire weeks of posting on my feed. But I do know a thing or two about writing copy, and the other week I posted a video a little bit about how my schedule has changed, and likely yours too. I have a lot less time to work in given everything that's going on in the world. So now more than ever, when I show up in people's inboxes, on their Instagram feed, wherever it is, I really want to have something to say. I don't want to show up to talk just to talk and fill space. I also want to be worth the time it takes for people to read my content. I never want someone to open a caption or an email or a blog and think that was not worth the 30 seconds that I invested in it. So I've been experimenting a lot lately, and even though, like I said, I'm posting a lot less than I was a year, 2 years ago when I definitely tried to never miss a day of posting, my follower count has gone up, and my average engagement rate has, and this is more important to me than follower count, has stayed between 2 and 3%, and average on the platform is about 2.5, so I'll take it. The metrics that matter has changed a little bit on the app, and more on that in a second, but one thing I'm loving is that the algorithm now lets the content that I am working to put out live longer than ever. And it's putting my videos, my stories, my posts in front of people that actually want to see what I'm up to, the people that are engaging with me anyway. So yes, many of us small business owners have totally bashed the algorithm. I am guilty as well, but when I realized this the other week, I was like, okay, Instagram, they're throwing us a bone. They're helping us work a little bit more smarter, not harder. So that way, when we do post, we really need to focus on that quality over quantity and making sure our words matter. If that's something you can get behind, then hit that like button. And while you're down there, hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it to join in on the family. We're creeping so closely towards 10,000 subscribers. I sure would appreciate that, as it helps me get my content in front of more people that need to hear it. That said, let's jump in. Tip number 1, hook me before the fold. I just mentioned metrics has changed a little bit. I can't just leave that dangling. This was a big takeaway from me at Social Media Marketing World, especially as I listened to my friend and Instagram educator, Tyler McCall. Whereas follower count, likes, and comments, those used to be the end-all be-all. These days, it's a little different. DMs, connection, follower retention in lieu of growth, saves, shares, that is all more important. I think you'll understand that more through this video, but one thing that hasn't changed, even if the metrics that matters changed a little bit, is putting out content that stops the scroll. And that is why here in tip number 1, I want to talk to you about that copy that is above the fold and visible before we actually accordion out your caption and read what's put in the rest of the caption. So just like writing headline copy or a hook or a blog title is so important, it is for Instagram too, because if we don't see enough to click open and open out that caption and read it, then it didn't matter what the rest of the caption was about. So your takeaway tip here is to apply any headline copywriting tips you've learned, maybe it's from me in other videos or my blog. Apply those same tips and tactics to writing that first line in your Instagram captions as well. So I try to front load my captions. I think about where that line break is going to be, and I anticipate making sure that the most important words are pushed up to the top of that sentence and things that don't matter as much are pushed after it. Again, just because some metrics and other things about the platform has changed, this has not. I said this a few years ago, I'm saying it today. Make sure that you're really investing some time in making sure that first part of your caption is gonna get somebody's attention. Tip number 2, hook with story told in your brand voice. Okay, at this point, we all know on this app that some people out there buy followers and that follower count can be a little bit of a vanity metric. But the thing you can't buy or mimic, that non-vanity metric that really matters, is relationship. You can't go out and buy a relationship. That's something that you gotta invest in like stock. That's on you. One of the reasons I love teaching copywriting so much is because you have a monopoly on your story and the way you tell it and your voice. Nobody can do that like you, even if they work in the same industry or serve the same niche. You are you, and that makes you different. And if you can figure out how to translate that into your voice and your storytelling and personality-packed copy, you are going to be on your way. So at the end of the day, Instagram is a visually focused app. Whether you're posting images on your feed or in stories that are super curated, or you're just kind of posting something that you had in your iPhone camera roll, that image's job is to prime. I love how my friend and client Jenna says that photo is a millisecond of a memory. So your job in the caption is to comment on what's going on in that photo or video and then stretch it out with story. People naturally love to know the why behind things, so I want you to be descriptive here. Make it fun to read. And when I was first doing research for, okay, what am I actually doing tactically as I write captions that's making them a little bit more story focused and giving them a little bit more excitement and spice to read than just something bland. I realized what I'm doing is trying to add between 2 and 3 phrases, anecdotes, stories, or descriptive pictures that are word pictures so people can feel like they're there. I want you to describe things like touch, taste, sight, sound, emotion, and feel. Get specific, and let me give you an example if this helps. Don't just say we ate Tex-Mex. Say we had salty corn chips dunked in guacamole and washed down with some tart margaritas. Was that longer? Yes. Was it likely more interesting to listen to me read or say? Probably also yes. Don't write the caption you want to write the caption that your followers, your readers, your audience wants to read. If you need a little bit more support here, then look down below or go to awcopyclass.com. I'm teaching a brand new free live training where I'm talking all about how to stand out and sell with personality-packed copy, and I would love for you to be there. Tip number 3, quit thinking about call to actions or CTAs like you used to. I've been saying it for years, but having a link tree or a link that spider webs out to lots of different links for somebody to click on in your bio isn't always the best use of space. It, for me, killed my conversion instead of sending someone to just one place when I gave them way too many options to choose from. Because here's the thing, Instagram was never meant to get you off the platform. Most social media apps aren't, right? From Facebook to YouTube, the goal of the platform is to keep you there and to keep you engaged. Read any book about the psychology of social media marketing and you'll see that this is what the developers and the founders of these companies are after as they created their tools. And it makes sense. They're a business. They want to keep you there. So we need to think about this when we're writing captions, because when people are on Instagram, they want to be on Instagram. I learned from Jen Herman at Social Media Marketing World that traffic on Instagram basically has a 0% bounce rate, which is crazy. And also crazy is that the average engagement rate is around that 2.5%. That is so much higher than most of the other platforms. What does this tell us? It tells us that this app is out for the individual, for the relationship that the individual has with the app. The app is working so hard to tailor itself for every individual user, which you can see anytime you click open your Explore feed and look at what it's brought up for you. Lots of memes, lots of bachelor-related content. So the takeaway here is to quit pushing people off the platform with your call to action. Instead, start to think when you're writing that call to action at the end of your caption, how can you keep people on this app? Whether you're pushing them to your stories or asking them to comment below and stay in your feed, or you're pushing them to your DMs. How can you work to have more of a private conversation with them? And I will say here, is this gonna take work? Absolutely. But this is key in how the platform has changed. Personally, I've struggled with this. I would love to stay in my DMs all day, every day. But like I said at the beginning of this, I don't want to be with my phone all the time. So I asked an expert this at Social Media Marketing World, and she said, set a timer for 30 minutes every day and answer as many messages as possible, and just know that that may be the best you can do right now. I hope that little tip helps, but basically, if I can focus my call to actions on getting people to have a conversation and then put my time spent on the app into having that conversation, that's a pretty good, wise investment of my time. Tip number 4, always type out your captions in a notes app or any application on your desktop. I tell my Copywriting for Creative students this, so maybe you've heard me say this, but don't write your website copy in a tool like Showit or Squarespace or WordPress or whatever you're using. Sometimes the worst thing you could do is pop open that tool and go right in and try to start writing copy right where it's going to be showing up. Instagram to me is the very same. Plus, typing on a desktop is how I can check for grammar and context as well. So let me flip the camera around and show you what that looks like. I don't really have like a super pristine process because sometimes I do want to type it out in like this notes app, and then sometimes I'm going to show you this in a moment. But I would say I go to the notes app more than not because I like just starting with a blank page and just writing and trying to figure out where that piece is in. So some of the process, like I always include the kind of the topics that I do rotate through. If you are in Prime to Launch, you know I don't love the idea of content bucket rotation. I like undergirding that with a greater launch strategy, but I do try to rotate. I hope if you're in Prime to Launch, that makes sense to you, but you can see that these are the type of things, and I always want to keep in mind why I'm posting and kind of do a little reflection each week. So I just jot down, brainstorm, like bullet out ideas, not even with bullets, things that I can talk about or stories that are on my brain. And then I'm going to go through and type out I used to too alternate between light and dark, light and dark. I don't really do that much anymore. I just don't think it's that important. So this is where I would just hash out things. And here is an example that I pulled in from a past caption, so you can kind of see, like, I would just write it out here, and I like how it underlines. Like I said, you can check for grammar, but that's an example of using the Notes app. I do really like this plan app. It has been so great. I'm sure you've seen there's lots of different tools that do this. This has been the one that I have used the most, and it's been most helpful for me. So what I would do is open up, let's see if any of these have any copy in where I was brainstorming. Yep. Okay. So I was brainstorming some stuff here, and I would put that in, and then I can move them around and decide like which day. So I have totally used this before to plot out like 30 days in advance. I tend to like to write captions a little bit closer to time of publication, but at least like if I'm going into a launch mode and I want to like figure some things out, it's been nice to plan out my feed a little bit more there. And then the other thing, and I'll talk about this in a minute, but I do like here that you can also hit, you can open up your comments and reply to them using your fingers on this instead of your thumbs, which is super helpful as well. One more quick note about desktop, just because we're on this subject. Instagram DMs are now available to answer on the desktop, which is so much more helpful than typing out everything with your thumbs. So in case you weren't aware of that, make sure you look. You can do it on Instagram or integrate your business page on Facebook with your Instagram account, and it is so much easier. And tip number 5, break up your text and make it easier for me to read. People will read online, people will read long things, but they will not read if it is boring. But if it's digestible and easy to consume, they will read it. This is why when I talk about sales pages, those subheadlines are so important. Copywriter Dan Kennedy said the person who says, "I'd never read all that copy," they make the mistake of thinking that they are the customer, and they're not. So write your captions for skimmers too. And again, back to writing on desktop, this is another reason I like writing desktop, because it's easier to do the line break, and then when I copy and paste it over to Instagram or pull it from my plan app, it's already broken up. When it comes to how you're breaking it, you can use emojis, lines, whatever. I don't think there's any data out there. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't seen any. Just make it skimmable. As far as length, I have found that 1 to 3 paragraphs is good. I have found what makes that easiest for me is to highlight it all, copy it, open up a text message to my best friend, paste it there, and then see, does it look too long? If it does, maybe I need to tighten it up. As is the theme of this video, sometimes quality over quantity and less is more. Here's a little bonus tip for you. When you're posting videos to your stories, make sure that you're always giving a little bit of copy that says what that video is about. About 80% of people on Instagram do not watch stories with sound on, so you need to make sure that you're helping them out with some copy that's very clear about what you're talking about. I hope this was helpful. If you learned something, then comment below. I would love to hear any of your big takeaways. And like I mentioned earlier, if you're interested in learning more about how to stand out and sell with personality-packed copy, make sure you sign up and grab a seat below or at awcopyclass.com. I would love to see you in that free training. Click like if this helped you, and if now you know you need a little bit more support about how to structure your captions or any of the copy that you're writing, make sure you watch this video I have teed up for you next, where I'm taking you through how on earth to figure out which copywriting formula you need to be using when and where. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.